Hey, SpaceWatchers! This is Space Cafe Radio, your channel about trends, cool people, and real conferences. My name is Chiara Monter. I'm the event coordinator in our SpaceWatch.Global team. Space traditionally has been a stage not occupied by the private sector. However, the new economy is interested in space, and space is interested in the new economy. Proof for this are all the courses in space economy and space business that are flourishing around Europe. In today's episode, I will interview Ricardo Mesquita, Program Director at the Nova School of Business and Economics, as well as the Space for Business, the first business program for the new space economy in Europe. Enjoy! Thank you for joining me today. I would love to learn a bit more about your background and how it's related to the space industry. So on the website, it says that you are very passionate about the intersection of education, technology, and data. Maybe you can tell a bit about how that relates to the space sector.
Absolutely, Chiara. Thank you for having me today. It's a great pleasure to be here with you today. My name is Ricardo Mesquita. My background, and it's very much connected with this part of the program, Space for Business, is very much a mix of entrepreneurial endeavors that I've been involved in my professional life, but also a passion for education and a passion for accelerating knowledge and competencies at the same time. So not only getting to know something new, but actually make it actionable, make use of that knowledge, make use of that experience of learning, and put it into service of what you're doing or something that you want to build in the future. So my background really comes from work in e-commerce and platforms, marketplaces that have grown considerably in the past decade. I then managed an innovation space based in South Florida in Miami called the Lab Miami. And from there, I joined the school where I actually did my MBA, IE University, to help build a new venture, which was IE Exponential Learning. It is a space where you can learn and accelerate your skills by doing boot camps in areas such as data science. So you learn how to code, and at the same time, you connect with market opportunities. During this time, I've kept track of the evolution that was happening, especially with new space, and the opportunities that were opening up to young companies that, without having the infrastructure to actually build rockets, for instance, they started having an interest in space as a new opportunity, as a new business opportunity. And from textile to agrotech, Earth observation, I've always had an interest in space and blue economy. But so I've kept track of all these advances and evolution. And when joining Nova, the School of Business and Economics, very close to Lisbon in Portugal, we already were exploring this partnership with St. Gallen's University in Switzerland, Rotterdam School of Management in the Netherlands. So it was just an easy step to just jump in and bring these variables such as entrepreneurship, innovation into the program. So that's really what we're going to be exploring at that stage of the program in the Nova campus in Portugal.
Thank you very much. And now I'm just curious, since you say you come from a more e-commerce and also startup and entrepreneurial background, but you kept track of what was happening in the new space sector. How did that come to be? How were you made aware of this?
I guess part of it was very personal interest. Some of my friends, both in Portugal and abroad, have an interest in space. Some of them are actually ambassadors or collaborating with the program itself. When I was living in Miami, one of the things that I enjoyed the most was go up to Cape Canaveral in Florida and see the launches or just visit the whole space. It's mind-blowing. If anyone listening has not been, I would definitely encourage them to do that trip. And they're pretty open to visits or to visitors. And at this time, I was looking at what Blue Origin was doing. I was looking at what Virgin Galactic was doing. I was looking at SpaceX. And these were really the times when they started talking about things that quickly materialized, like recovering their rockets and being able to quickly evolve and start having low orbit flights. And it was a very interesting time to be there. So being able to keep myself updated with all these very public and very well-known advances was just something, it's more of a personal interest. There's also something else, which is I don't have a technical background, but I've always looked at space as a business opportunity as well, sort of like a new frontier. And I think that very few business schools have looked into this new frontier as an opportunity for them to develop content, to encourage their students, faculty, alumni to, dwell and get themselves a little bit more into that particular field. So I think this is clearly a huge opportunity.
That leads us really well into the program of Space for Business. And there, my main question is, what is the goal? What would you like to get out of this program?
Well, the first and foremost, it touches directly with what we just said, which is find an opportunity to share a way to actually dig deeper into a topic that has been approached on a more technical side, and actually look at it as, okay, so forget about science fiction or more fantastic and incredible things that we've seen, but what if I have what if my company who develops textiles could actually contribute to the manufacturing of a specific suit, or a specific cork is being used in space? One of the top Portuguese companies is actually contributing heavily to that. And very few people know of this, right? The usability of new materials or old materials in new space. So it's an interesting thing that we will be definitely looking into doing the Space for Business program. I think that the program gets you through a journey, a learning journey that goes from Switzerland to Portugal, then the Netherlands, and then it finishes at the European Space Agency facilities. So you really have a comprehensive learning experience. It doesn't really matter where you're coming from, either from a European country or elsewhere. You will get exposure to what's going on in probably less obvious countries. Maybe we want to call it smaller countries, or countries that have a different approach to space economy. This year, for instance, in Portugal will be a big year for space, 2022. So definitely a good year to do the program, because you will be on campus in Lisbon at the same time as other things are happening as well. And we'll be able to build those bridges for the participants. But most of all, I think it will be a layer of, okay, if you have a technical background, you're an aeronautical engineer, and you want to add a layer of business into your training, and you want to really understand how you can launch a new venture or be more entrepreneurial within your own company, this is probably the right place to come.
Now, you talk about adding another layer, but I was curious, what would be the prerequisites for your ideal student? What should they be bringing to the table before joining the program?
Well, I think we're pretty open. Definitely a passion for space, definitely an interest in building something new, either within large corporate player or on their own. Maybe it's someone that has had this idea to further develop and he hasn't found really a way to accelerate it. And this could be an amazing way to have your own personal impact project being developed. It's part of the program, and it's something that we're going to be working heavily in Lisbon. So that's going to be fun. And what else? I would say you'll get from the program as much as you put in. And if you have an analytical profile, if you're someone that really wants to build a new model, you can explore that with the knowledge, and at the same time use those skills to contribute to a group work or to your own individual work. So I think that should be fun. If you have a more biz dev background, or you enjoy sales and you really want to understand, you want to acquire the skill set to take that to another level, especially incorporating entrepreneurial mindset, exploring innovative new ideas that you want to bring to the table, I think those backgrounds could profit the most. We're pretty agnostic in terms of we're having candidates that are, most of them working within the space realm in terms of business already, or some of them really want to transition into that space. Others are looking to build something new. So it's really a mix of different people. And there's a balance between male and female. So there's a gender balance right now as the class is being built. So that's cool.
Well, that's good to hear. Now, on the website for the program of Module 2, it cites that one of the skills that the students are going to learn is to apply and develop innovation strategies in the space industry. And I was wondering, could you elaborate a bit more on what you mean by these innovation strategies?
Yeah, so the Module 2, which is the one coming right after St. Gallen's in Switzerland, that will happen in March. The Module 2 will be happening in late May, early June in Lisbon, which is a great time to come as well. The module focuses mostly on the entrepreneurial process, from the development of new ideas to exploring new business models. Okay, so the idea here is that we will expose participants to a mix of both faculty from Nova School of Business and Economics and practitioners, professionals that will come on campus and share their experiences. We believe that an entrepreneurial approach is key to start a new venture, but also to propel new business opportunities if you work with an incumbent, for instance. And finding these business opportunities for new products, services, even processes is really essential for any business. So the interesting thing as well is also explore these topics where you mix an engineer, an economist, and someone coming with a management background. And also you include creativity and ideation with a workshop where you build your own project. And we'll also have, I'm thinking about this specific person because he's already confirmed for the module, and he has a very interesting background. He's going to lecture on venture capital, how to raise funds to finance your new space venture. And his background, he's an aeronautical engineer with a Harvard Business School MBA, and he now works in one of the top funds in Portugal, but he has an international scope. He's passionate about space, but he's also very much aware of the steps that you need to go through to actually raise money, raise capital to finance your business. So I would say that the essential topics for the module include entrepreneurship in space, creativity and ideation, venture capital, entrepreneurial leadership and team management. That's fundamental as well, how to build a team to launch a new venture or reinforce your work within a corporate structure. And also, we really underline the idea that integrate your own personal project to this experience when you're on the ground in Lisbon.
So by innovation strategies, you then mean the components that are needed in order to develop your own space business or to understand the space business sector.
Absolutely. But also your own personal strategy for that. I would say that you will have a mix of understanding what is happening today in space, but at the same time, develop your own skills to actually innovate in that field. I would say that's a mix of both.
Okay, because then I'm curious if, I, as a student, sign up for this program, I saw that one of the things in the description was that I can form my own entrepreneurial roadmap. And I think this is the personal approach that you're talking about. What would that look like for me? What can I take away from that?
The fun part, and I think, is it's a tight and small class. So we're not looking at having, on this very first edition, more than 20 participants. So immediately you'll have a very close encounter with your peers. And we've selected a mix of profiles from gender, age, backgrounds, where they're coming from, which already enriches that process. So that's one. The second one will design an experience that allows you to get a lot of content in both St. Gallen when you start, and then online. We'll build the bridge to the second module, generating the incentive to do a lot of pre-work, so that whenever you land in the module in Lisbon, you'll be able to review the evolution of your impact project. So what is the scope? What kind of framework? Are you working on a new service? Are you looking into building a new product? If it's a physical product, what do you need? Do you need engineering team? Do you need product development? And so all of those steps will be developed during the module, and you will define the project with the mentors, both on a group discussion and individually. So the idea is really to make the most out of that and then jump into more. So we'll start by that at the beginning of this module 2, so that when you actually get exposed to the content coming from, say, Portugal Space, so they will give you context about the space sector in the country, but it will also talk about the technical stuff and the international geopolitics or law in space, and they'll give you an European perspective as well, making the bridges with the different modules. You will quickly understand how that relates to your own personal endeavor, right? So you will say, okay, so I need to learn more about the practicalities of this specific topic. So that note, you can go talk to the speaker or some of the mentors and try to dig deeper into that particular field.
So it really allows for a very iterative process, kind of learning by doing, and I can focus on my project or my roadmap and gain knowledge along the way throughout going through the course.
Absolutely.
Sounds very nice. And I know you've touched upon this before, but you talk a bit about the combination of the classroom interaction, the digital experience, and then really the experiential learning. And I was wondering, can you allude a bit to how the balance is with these three components?
Absolutely. So imagine we'll get 3 full days on campus. First morning, you'll get to explore your own impact project. So you'll be assisted, accompanied by mentors, some of the faculty, part of the team as well. Very interesting in seeing how that evolves. Then you'll get the context, and this will be done with the help of Portugal Space. And then you get a session on how to prosper in a space business. Okay, so that's also a fundamental area. The idea is that we allow you the first evening free so that you can mingle and get together with your peers. And also some of the people in the program will join you. And this will help you also develop further networking and connections, taking advantage that you're on the ground. And the idea here is that you learn, you apply, and you build your project as you go. So the second day, you'll get a lot of creativity processes applied to space. Then you get an ideation, and then we'll bring people that have done that before. And we try to make it actionable for the participants to incorporate it in their learning process. Then we'll do space entrepreneurship with the development, strategy development from an entrepreneur who already developed his own space business. So that should be fun. And then we'll have a second session with the founder of a space debris company that will help us to understand how did he implement that and how did he help develop that particular business, right? And then we'll give you an overall visit on the Portugal Air Center, which is an interesting initiative as well happening in Portugal. So this is still halfway through the module, right? And you're already getting all this content, and you asked how do you mix the balance, how you make that balance. So the following day, you get the venture capital, which is fundamental if you're trying to raise money to fund your new venture, or if you're trying to even persuade internally your department, your business area to fund a new project or do a spin-off within your own company. So we'll try to get a full morning of discussion around this topic. Each one of the participants steers their learning experience into what really relates to the reason why they joined the program. So we try to make that happen. Then we have a lunch and learn with some of the speakers from the previous day. So they're back, people have slept on it, and then come back. They can interact with some of the faculty and practitioners that are coming back. And then we do an approach of the opportunities for SDGs, so Sustainable Development Goals. We incorporate them as well in the program, and we apply them to the space sector. And we approach as well the idea that I mentioned before, which is leadership in space, how to build your team as a space entrepreneur or someone who wants to be entrepreneurial in their ventures. So I think it's really, as you said, Kira, a balance between those. We try not to lose the focus of this space tribe that we're bringing to the program, so that you have the lunch with your peers and with some of the speakers, the breaks, you get an interaction, and then in the evenings, we try to get you as well someone new that you can talk to. So these will be very long days, but also very, very juicy, full of opportunities to learn and interact with others. And then just the final thing, the very last day, which will be a Friday, we spend the morning doing company visits. Okay, so we have one of the evenings is devoted to visit the Air Center, and then the final morning is we'll do 2 company visits, one to a startup, scale up, and another one to a more established corporate player, but both in the space sector. And this will also allow participants to learn more directly from them who are on the field.
That's very nice, because I think networking and really asking those questions to people who have gone through that process can be very helpful. Now I'm just curious, because is there a support system or some kind of guidance put in place if you have some students who come up with a great new space business idea? How can they progress once they've gone through this course?
Well, I think we'll lay the ground and the foundations to actually sort of like breadcrumbs as well along, and you'll be able to look back once you graduate and later this year in the last quarter of 2022. I think students will be able to look back, connect the dots and say, okay, so if I need to get some funding, this could be a great person to help me in that. Okay, sure. I have it on my agenda. And then you say, okay, sure. Now I need to recruit people for my team. So where should I find them? And you have 3 different universities that can allow you to either tap into their alumni, tap into their students. So I think it really is an opening process, right? And also I think that along the way, you will, on your own, participants will be able to say, okay, sure. Is there an accelerator for space ventures? So where are those in Europe? Let me see. Okay. Or I'm going back to the US because I decided to be in Europe during the 2022. So I think those aha moments will happen along the program, and there will always be people that will help you point the way, right?
So all the prerequisites are there.
Yeah, hopefully so. Are you joining?
I would love to.
No, that would be fun.
I have just one more final question, which is, again, a bit more of your own personal idea. So I was wondering, what is your personal goal with the creation of this program? What is it that you would really like to see happen?
I would love to see, and again, now specifically coming from a Portuguese business school, I would love for us to be a destination for learning in the space and blue economy. I think Portugal has all the characteristics, geography, location, weather, whatever we want to call it, and infrastructure to welcome the world's best to explore further this new frontier of space. I think that for this year, I would love for the 3 schools to become a reference on building a space program in Europe. I think that's fundamental. We have an amazing relationship with our peers. Becoming truly European as a program makes it much more enticing for anyone wanting to apply. And we want to make it cross-generational, and hopefully it will appeal to multiple industries. So we'll get someone coming from agro-tech because they want to be in space, or you are bringing someone, like we said before, who's a cork producer, everybody wants to learn more on how to further develop their product. Or the idea would be that we would be like a meeting place. This program will really become a meeting place. And we want to be able to deliver this edition and then build the ones coming in the future.
Sounds like some great goals. All the best for that. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you for having me.
This was the end of this episode, but please don't forget to check out the full program of Space Cafe Radio, where we offer interviews, insights, and editorial comments on the space sector. I am Chiara, event coordinator at SpaceWatch.Global. Thank you all very much for listening. And with that, I leave you for today. And don't forget, become a Space Watcher. Bye!